we sat on the album for almost a full year before on the beginning of the album when we had the first trip to Rome with the backing tracks. We couldn't really decide who was going to be who we wanted to go after for the singer at the time, and we thought it would just kind of come to us. It would be an obvious choice at a certain point, and there was just nobody that we could think of at the time. And I think that the problem was that we were looking for somebody to complement the music, when really what turned out to be the right way to go was to be somebody who could stand out on it. And Jack White was somebody that I had met on tour, probably in 2006 or 7, I think it was, and played him the music, and didn't even ask him. I didn't really ask him to be on it. I really was just trying to show off the music to him to try to impress him, I think. And but then about 6 or 7 months later, I asked him anyway, and thought, well, he really, really liked it, and he knows his music, and it would be amazing if he did something that worked, because it would be really unique. And so he gave it a shot, and at the same time, Daniel had given me a call and had heard a White Stripes song on the radio, and thought and asked me what I thought about maybe getting this guy in to sing, because he was so different, because we had been talking about getting somebody who maybe was more unique for the male vocal. And so Jack gave it a shot, and I think he pulled it off tremendously. I thought it was really great, and he hadn't done it he hadn't worked that way before, and so it's really unique. Sometimes it sounds just like Jack, sometimes it doesn't, which is a good thing, I think. And the next thing to do was to find the female vocal, and that's when Norah got involved. And none of us knew Norah, but we had all talked about her, and the female part had already been written, so we kind of had an idea as to the kind of vocal it would need, which was a softer voice, something a little bit more vulnerable. And I think that we all had her in mind, and I remember having conversations with both Daniel and Jack about Norah specifically. So we just went straight to Norah, and I went straight to her. I didn't know her, but I already had the music in hand and some of the stuff that Jack had done, so I felt like I had some good leverage to ask her, to convince her to do it, and she was into it right away, and her actual singing on the record. I remember when Daniel and I were in the studio with her, and as soon as she sang the first couple of lines of the first song that we gave to her, just saying that kind of, you saw the end of the album. You could see that this was the last piece to the album. It should just fit perfectly with what Jack had done and what was already there musically. Jack had his own lyrics, and I had been working on the lyrics for the female part at the same time, but I kind of wanted to see what Jack was going to do before I finished. And after Jack was done, it was in a similar vein. So I kind of finished them up with some cues from Daniel, just making sure it was okay and everything. And then, when Norah came in, it just, took it to another place. It was much, much better than the scratch vocals that we had there. Yeah. It's fun, I guess. For 2 Against 1. That song, I think, sounds the most like Jack White. His voice is right there. When we did these songs, we had no idea who was going to be singing them. So the keys that the songs were in, we had already been over to Rome a couple of times, and they couldn't be changed. So when Jack found a couple of songs that he found inspiration on and had some melodies on, and started to sing, they weren't quite in his normal range, so it forced him to kind of sing really either really high or really low. And so we recorded them both and then combined the two of them. And that's why on the other 2 songs, Rose with the Broken Neck and The World, it's very different. But for 2 Against 1, it happened to be right in his range, and that was the one part of the album. It's like right in the middle where it just kind of sticks out that you have Jack White singing, and it just sounds very, very natural, I think. And that song was definitely one where you can tell what was going on with who it was and everything else. And it does stand alone, but I think it does fit in the context of the album as well. And with Black was a song that I had kind of thought was a take on if Bob Dylan sang on a Serge Gainsbourg track, but with Norah Jones singing, and that was the idea in its own way. And Daniel and I, when we were doing the music for that song, we had part of it, but then, you know, I don't think we envisioned somebody like Norah singing that in that style, but I think it really turned out well. I think it is different to the other ones as well, but I think in a good way.
I actually remember that we were kind of more, I wouldn't say concerned, but we were actually paying attention a lot to The World and Rose with a Broken Neck rather than Two Against One, for the reason he explained, that those were two songs that really, you know, at first did not probably fit into Jack's range. So I think I remember we paid maybe a little more attention to those two, you know, because really Two Against One sounded like incredibly, you know, perfect for him. So
yeah, you know, with this project, we definitely had to. I think we felt there would be great to have a visual element to it, and Chris Milk got involved in the project over a year ago. I played the album for him, and you know, he was instantly drawn into it. I play music for him all the time. He's an old friend, so whatever I'm working on, I'm always playing him stuff, and he always pats me on the back and says, "Oh, that's good," or whatever, you know. And this is one where I can tell he really, really liked it, and so I think he felt attached to it from the beginning, and wanted to be a part of the visual aspect of it in any way, shape, or form, is what he said, you know. And Jacob Escobedo is the man who did the artwork, the really, really great artwork that goes along with it, the dripping heart and everything, and that was the imagery for the album itself. And then Chris has been working on the visuals for this for a while. He's really sunk himself into it, so there's a lot coming with that, and with Chris, you know, he's going to do something amazing. But for us, I think we kind of wanted to let him do whatever he was going to do, so we could be a fan of it as well, and we trust him to really open it up and do something really unique. So I think that although people can still interpret the album the way they want to and have their own visual ideas for it, I think that what Chris is going to do will be pretty special as well. We're looking into doing this live in some kind of way. It's obviously going to be a bit of an operation to get it together, but everybody involved wants to do it. We want to do it, and so we've got to take the time, like we did to make the record. We got to take the time to make sure we can get it right and do it properly. But there are plans to do that, and we are in the process of working it out. Yeah, well, I mean, for me personally, yeah, you know, obviously, yeah, this took a long time, and I think the thing I should be taking from it is to take more time on things, because it's worth it in the end. And I think I've learned more from making this album than any other album I've made, and I definitely have applied it to everything else I've done in the meantime as projects have come and gone. And so, and I think it stops me from being a little bit. Sometimes I can be a little afraid to take on too much, even though I do take on too much all the time. But this project in particular, if you have the right people, you know, somebody like Daniel, that's why I like to collaborate a lot. And when you have somebody who can match what you're doing, and also help you so much, and be the other partner in it, you can take on much, much bigger things. And so I think it makes me not be afraid to try even more expansive things, and things that might take a little bit longer and everything else, but eventually it'll get there. So I've taken a lot from it already. So in the future, you know, I guess just maybe not take 5 years, but not be afraid to try bigger projects.
Well, you know, for me, it was really the first, so far, it's been the first and only collaboration in writing, especially. So I'm a little afraid and skeptical about, you know, doing that with someone else. Meaning, it went so smoothly that you know, people ask us, like, do you have any arguments or things like that? The answer is no. I mean, we really share, the same taste, and everything was very positive. I mean, it was definitely tiring. I mean, we spent a lot of hours and stuff like that. But everything was kind of, pushed ahead by these results that we were getting, something really special for both of us. I remember we both thought a few times, maybe when things don't go exactly as you want, that okay, today maybe didn't went perfect, but you know what, I have this record that nobody knows about it, that it will kind of be the secret weapon, that will give me some strength, etc., to move forward. So also another thing, I mean, we really did start with this project in mind, and then all the other collaboration happened. The Nars Barkley, the Broken Bells, Dark Night of the Soul, Joker's Daughter. Yeah. So this is really the first reason why we kind of met, and so it's been there like for a long time.